Good evening, Trump's family. Welcome back to my channel. Have a good night, everyone, and God bless you. Alright, the following is a collection of news from Patriots. Let's get into the news this Wednesday night. And Nancy Pelosi was making the late night circuit last night. And she's either a very delusional beast trying to Mr. Ragdoll her, continuing to keep her donors, or donating money to Democrat Party, or 3, she knows something that we don't. So Nancy Pelosi was out there saying that Democrats are going to win the House and keep the Senate and continue to push through here. But if you look at all the metrics that are pointing for a Democrat wipeout, she would be going against this. Maybe she has to put this face on of we're not going to lose, because again, donors would pull out pretty quickly. And Democrats would probably be pretty demoralized, even more than they are right now, knowing that they're coming into an election cycle where it's not going to be party for them. So let's dive into what we have here. It says Pelosi tells late night audience Democrats will hold control over the House after the midterms. Quite delusional. She may have been a little bit too much last night before coming on to the show there. The California Democrat said on CBS The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, "Dude, that's guy such a show." On Monday night, "I believe that we will hold the House, and we will hold the House by gaining more seats. We won 40 seats, but once Trump came on the ballot, we suffered several losses despite losing some of the Trump affiliate districts. We managed to cling on to enough seats to keep the House." She said he's not yet on the ballot. She continued, "But I really just mentioned his name. I wasn't intending to. Perhaps you could bleep it out." She said in response to Coburn's announcement that we'll have the videotapes fumigated, the Gen fumigator, because they see these Republicans as test. By the way, if you're any type of Republican conservative, he voted for Trump, they see you as vermin and need to be exterminated. That is why they use words like fumigated and things like that, because that's how they feel about you. Their prognosis have expected a huge red wave, Colbert said, but it still looks like the Republicans will win the House. Pelosi disagreed. "We started right immediately to prepare for our next election in terms of organization. We won in 2020. And again, with fewer seats, but still retaining the House." Pelosi added, "When you mobilize, when you control the area to win the election, to second M is inspiration, what the third is money, and when you have to achieve it, how we construct our messaging. We are thus preparing for the election that occurred in December in 2020. Pelosi said that after January 6, there was a large inflow of applicants and stepped forward, that magnificent variety of American came forward. Added Pelosi, young people, people of color, people of all decades, different cultures, and the rest. They ignore the naysayers who claim they couldn't win. They entered the battle with current certainty that they could prevail." According to Pelosi, there is now a new mentality about whether Democrats can win as a result. That's the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. "We always had the mindset that we could prevail because we are aware our democracy was at stake." She continued, Our world was up for election in this election. More women's issues were on the ballot than in typical majority. She said that she doesn't trust polls, and that the candidates are doing extremely well in their districts, in response to Cooper's comment that they don't support what she was saying. Anyway. So yeah, things are not looking good for the Democrat Party overall. And that's in many polls, even the polls that support Democrats normally do not show a significant win for the Democrat Party. They see them losing power, almost every single poll I've seen. So again, Nancy Pelosi once again, just saying what she needs to say in order to continue to keep the money flowing. That is basically what I got from this entire interview that she had with Stephen Colbert. Again, one of the Democrats' media shills. And the United States military has been one. Let me give some context here. Before we get into the meat, the United States military has been identifying trainers, seditious, and enemy assets. For a really long time. We are arriving now at the point where things are going to have to go public pretty soon. We have arrived at the point of bankruptcy for the Federal Reserve System. We're at a boiling point here in the United States of America as it pertains to election security, with midterms supposedly looming just over a month away. This is going to have to go public, eventually. The military's last task, after establishing their reconnaissance and battle plans, is to ensure that their own side is free of saboteurs, extremists, kamikazes, things that could derail the operation or cause it to be ineffective in some way. And so that has been going on. That identification process has been going on now for several months. And we are nearing the end of that as well. The information that I was given is that military commanders were in Washington, D.C. together, or in the area of Washington, D.C. together over this last few days. And they were there to discuss the actual logistic implementation of the nationwide emergency presidential alert system, and to outline the final plan details on how to activate 11.3 and are the government of the U.S. of America. And so, understanding that we're still expecting an indictment for the commander-in-chief from the fake deep state B propped up government. Understanding that we have these unstoppable forces converging between 44's nuclear terrorism, and the corruption of 44 and B, and Hillary and the Clintons and Soros and Ukraine. And several governments and many governments all around the world. Now, these forces have now come out to a point that they're not going to be stopped. And so bearing that in mind, we are, according to my individual, we are at the point where the emergency alert implementation, and we should expect to see something on that. I would say within the next month or so. I wasn't given an exact time frame and I never am. But considering the litany of communications regarding how difficult October is going to be, we have the banking system in absolute freefall and has been now for not quite a month, coming up on a month. The QFS has had more than 2 years to run alongside all of the old system and drop its feelers into all the nooks and crannies. So we are at that point, I think, where we're going to see something dramatic, and we're going to see it probably pretty soon. I personally believe that the sequence of events could look something along the lines of false flag being blamed on the climate, and that leading us to a nuclear standoff event. All of this coinciding with the collapse of the monetary system and an attempted change to a new system. And then I believe all of this will culminate. This is only my personal opinion. I haven't confirmed this sequence of events. But it is my belief that all of that will culminate in the fake government of the United States, suspending the electoral process. And the United States military stepping in and relieving that fake government of their authority, and also conducting a special election for all affected races in the United States of America over certainly the last 2 years, but perhaps even, years before that. We're going to see some intense change over the next 8 to 12 weeks. I think that we need to be prepared. I think that we need to be ready. And I am extremely excited to be telling all of you that we have lived through the softening up the target process. And we are now about to begin official bombardment in a way that even your sleepers are going to wake up and realize, hey, this isn't right, this isn't normal. And I think that's the point where we're going to be compelled into a new awareness as a culture and as a great people. Around the world. This operation will kick off publicly in the USA, but it is my personal belief that coordination at the military level. Well, it's not my belief. I know this coordination at the military level is going to lead to a cascading effect around the world. We are going to see governments brought down because of economic and financial crisis and replaced with governments of the people. We're going to see militaries ordering certain governments in certain key places around the world to stand down. And we will see the implementation as not the right word. We will see the unveiling of a worldwide safety net that has been put in place by incredible patriots from every country all across this great earth, to do the hard lifting for us and protect us at the moment of true change. And the moment of truth changes. Here, we are now at hand. We've got Scavino pointing to, a flood of information regarding Russiagate. We have individuals talking about, electronic, election interference and new data coming out with that. We have, individuals like Kash Patel, highlighting the next level corruption going on in agencies like the FBI and the DOJ. We have the commander-in-chief doing his public relations thing while giving us, breadcrumbs and letting us know that, Red October is coming and censorship is coming. All of you are about to be censored, like you've never been censored before. We are at the point where, the Kabbalist superstructure is fighting for its very survival. And when you fight for your very survival, you fight to keep you. The winner keeps it all, so you fight to keep it all, and they are going to fight to keep it all. And the best part about that is, in so doing, they will be forced to out themselves to all of the sleepers. It would be akin to the wolf dressed in the sheep's coat throwing off the sheep's coat in the middle of the sheep. And that's one of the metaphors I think we should keep in mind, because we're going to watch them implode on themselves. Unfortunately, we're going to be along for the ride, but we will survive this and they will not. And so, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the EAS is near. It is imminent. It is being planned and orchestrated physically at the present time. Interestingly enough, I did a little bit of digging today just around the truther community, and there is some suggestion in the community. I haven't confirmed this with my individual or other truthers, but there's some suggestion in the community that in the aftermath of Hurricane Ian and while Hurricane Ian was going on, U.S. Special Forces Command conducted operations against traitorous FEMA agents in the Floridian Peninsula and along the southeast seaboard. I can't corroborate that. But that information would make some amount of logical sense, coinciding with what I can corroborate, which is that the military domestic forces in charge of protecting the country in the homeland have begun implementing a physical rollout plan for a simultaneous national emergency alert. And so, with that being said, everyone, we're going to talk just a little bit really fast about some of your emails and questions regarding precious metals, and I will let you go for the evening. As I put on my True Social account today, which is at RealSGAnon, I stated that I was having access issues with ProtonMail. Those access issues are more specifically defined as encryption and decryption issues on my end. And so I have not quite 200 unread emails from many of you out there that I am unable to decrypt and actually read. And so with that being said, in order to help answer a lot of the questions that many of you have sent out to me, I updated the video descriptions with some basic, just very general references and recommendations. In my experience for good resources for precious metals. You're welcome to explore those resources without sending me a communication. You're also welcome to wait for me to reply. Once I'm able to sort these issues out, I will be replying to all of the emails that I've received. It is going to take me a little bit longer than I had originally hoped. And I apologize. Such is the 21st century technological life, we are headed into a fantastic age where these sorts of issues are extremely unlikely to occur. And I just ask an employer for your patience and grace as we go through this and as I go through getting some of these tech issues sorted on my end. And so with that in mind, if you have questions or concerns regarding precious metals, especially from having listened to a non-audio file, 11 or 12, or both, please check the video descriptions. I updated those descriptions to give a little bit of a direction and some guidance. And then I also encourage you to reach out if you have continuing questions or need further clarity, and I'll do my best to oblige you. If you enjoy these updates, smash the like button and put your comment down below. Thank you for watching the video. I wish you